Last lessons from the late Ravi Zacharias. My name is Jason Fong, and I humbly believe that the Lord is leading me to speak out on this matter. May His name be praised. It is going to be about 1 month now since the Ravi Zacharias scandal exploded, with the release of the full investigative report in February 2021. After a brief 3 months of struggle with sarcoma cancer, Ravi passed away on 19 May 2020. There was a period of sadness, which was well tempered with joy even as we celebrated his life. Back then, he was hailed as the greatest Christian apologist of all time. But with the Ravi Zacharias scandal, how do we bring this tragedy to a proper closure? Mourn and grieve we must, but the dynamics will not be the same. As we mourn, it will not just be about the passing away of the man, but also to mourn over the humiliation brought upon Christianity. As we grieve, it will not be just with the family concerning the loss of a loved one, but also to grieve with them over the shame and the pain. Yes, mourn we must and grieve we must, but of course there is also a whole range of other emotions as well. Indignation. Some of us are very frustrated, even angry. How can this happen? How can he preach and teach at one moment and then do all these terrible things another moment? Desperation. Some of us are deeply hurt. There is anguish and pain inside us. We felt let down, even betrayed, with such dark secrets coming out from the man of God. Confusion. Some of us are dumbfounded. We don't know what to think. We don't know what to say. We don't know how we should respond. And some may even think that this whole thing is a setup, a plot against Ravi. We must accept that different people will respond differently. But whatever the responses may be, putting our head into the ground like the ostrich is definitely not an option. Why? Because in the course of his ministry, Ravi had engaged prominent people of other faith, and already I noted that some unchurched people are starting to make some comments, and I think more will come sooner or later. As such, churches and Christians must take time to process this tragedy and even to articulate our thoughts and feelings, because such articulation would bring some clarity. And as we process this sad tragedy, we must be careful not to give shallow, simplistic, and even half-baked responses. One of such shallow, simplistic, and half-baked response is this: don't follow the man, just follow God. If we look to man, we will be disappointed. We must look beyond the man. We must look to God. This is the lesson we want to look at today in this video. Why is such a response simplistic and shallow? Let us look at 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 1. In this Bible passage, Paul said this to the people in Corinth: imitate me just as I also imitate Christ. Follow my example as I follow the example of Christ. Follow me even as I follow Christ. So, the popular response, don't follow man, just follow God. This response just does not square with the scriptures here. Paul boldly asked people under his care to follow him, to imitate him. Is 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 1 applicable to Paul only? I do not think so. 1 Corinthians 11 verse 1 applies to all pastors, all evangelists, all Bible teachers, even youth counselors and Sunday school teachers. I believe that the man and the woman of God, every minister of the gospel, must understand the awesome responsibility to be God's servant, to preach and to teach God's holy word, to be the mouthpiece of God. This must never be taken lightly. We cannot simply say, do what I tell you to do, but don't do what I do. Follow my instructions, but don't follow my examples. And also, we cannot simply use this as an excuse when something goes wrong. Don't follow me, just follow God. Human beings are not perfect. We will be disappointed. Only God is infallible. So don't follow people, just follow God. No, this is not how the Bible put it. Paul commanded the Corinthians, follow me, imitate me, even as I follow Christ, just as I also follow Christ. What does even as or just as mean? Even as does not mean if. Just as does not carry any uncertainty. On the contrary, even as and just as speak of certainty and commitment. Paul was actually saying this: I am following Jesus Christ, and I want you to follow me even as I follow him. Indeed, all through the scriptures, we see God calling and using certain men and certain women. That's right. The ministries of God, the agendas of God are often spearheaded and driven by key personalities. No, the man and the woman God used are not perfect. No, such people may fall. Noah, Abraham, Samuel, Saul, David, Solomon, Samson. It is not easy, but yet every man and woman of God must be able to say what Paul has said. Follow me even as I follow Christ. Imitate me just as I imitate Christ. And should any man of God or woman of God fall, we cannot simply say, please do not look to any man or any woman. We must look only at God. This is the one other lesson we must learn from the Ravi Zacharias scandal. When the unchurched begin to comment on this scandal, we cannot simply say, don't follow Ravi, just follow Jesus. Don't follow me, just follow God. Let us learn this lesson well. This is my 5th video in this series, Last Lessons from the late Ravi Zacharias. Like what I have said previously, I have no intention to hurt anyone or condemn anyone. We must always pray for the servants of God and the ministers of the gospel. May each of these men and women of God say with confidence, follow me even as I follow Christ. Imitate me just as I imitate Jesus. And may all of us always keep our eyes on Jesus Christ, the author and the pioneer of our faith. May all of us always keep our eyes on Jesus Christ, the finisher and the perfecter of our faith. And may all of us be confident of this, that God who began a good work in us will carry it on to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. Thank you. The Lord bless you and the Lord keep you.